Aloha, this is Maui K with Maui K Travels. Today we are getting ready and packing for something completely different, something I don't normally do. But I am going on an Alaska cruise tomorrow with Norwegian Cruise Line on the Norwegian Cruise Line Bliss. So cold weather and I do not necessarily get along, but I hopefully got some packing tips that are going to help me survive this week. So I packed all the normal. I have, a whole bunch of t-shirts and, my underwear, my nightwear, but I'm gonna need summer in Alaska, so especially Southeast Alaska is quite wet and it is a rainforest area. And it's still gonna be chilly for me, especially when you're out in the glacier area. So to start off, like I said, I have about 7 or 8 lightweight t-shirts. And then with that, we're gonna add, I have about 6 or 7 lightweight jackets. I'm not a big fan of sweaters. I think they're very bulky and don't look great on me, so I'm gonna do all layers. So we did the lightweight jackets. I also have about 7 pairs of leggings. They're kind of thin. I don't really like jeans. They're too structured, too heavyweight for me. I got those because of the weather, the water. I don't have waterproof pants, but I did go to Costco. They had these on sale. They're Eddie Bauer ankle pant, and they are lightweight and they are water resistant. So again, not waterproof, but water resistant where the water should run off on them. As long as it's not a complete downpour, I should be okay. So I've got 2 pairs of these. That can go over some of my leggings, but not all of them. So some of them are a little too thick. I did have a knit cap for days when we're going to be out on the front of the bow of the boat, going up towards the glacier. So I thought that would be nice. Just some thin mittens. Some people go with the waterproof gloves, but I didn't want to really buy those for just a one-time deal. I did get a hat. In case I don't want to wear the knit cap, I have a hat. And I think that'll be great on the days where it is raining. And I have a couple waterproof Columbia jackets. I have the white one, and then when you can put the hoodie up on top. And then if you have the hat underneath, it'll at least keep the water out of your face also. So I've got a white one that I've had for years and a black one also. So if I do get wet, I can have at least a day for each of these to dry and then wear them intermediately. I did go to Costco. Costco, perfect timing. They were getting all their cold weather stuff out. So I got a nice light flannel shirt that can go over my t-shirts. I think that'll work pretty perfectly along with the little lightweight jackets. I did get a shacket, so it's like a Sherpa lined flannel button-down jacket. I wish it was a zipper, but I will take the buttons. They were a little hard to maneuver. Of course, I've left the tags on in case I don't use it and don't like it, then I can always take them back. I don't plan to go cold weather very often, but seeing how my granddaughter lives in Oregon, I will plan to come up here and visit her occasionally. And then I also have, this is one of my favorite things when I did live here in Oregon for 1 year, is I have a Columbia jacket, coat, that has the Omni Heat. So on the interior, it's got like these little aluminum type things that will reflect back your body heat. And so it's very thin, so it works great. So you don't have to take a big bulky jacket. So it's very thin, so it doesn't take up a lot of room in the suitcase. So the great thing is I've also been using, reach down here and grab these, the little packing cubes, which are great. So I was able to fit my shacket, my flannel, my coat, my 2 waterproof jackets, my 2 hats, and the mittens all in one packing cube. So it shrinks it down to a smaller size. And then I've got my pants all in another packing cube and my light jackets in another packing cube. So that kind of helps me stay organized so I know what I'm looking for. I also like to take a folding collapsible laundry hamper that keeps all my used clothes in a space. I have a pair, one of my neighbors was gracious enough to loan me this pair of waterproof hiking shoes, boots. These are LL Bean brand, so they're really good. And she's like, these are amazing for hiking, which I'm not gonna do a lot of hiking, but I am going out dog sledding, and I am going on one whale watch and one otter search boats. So if it is wet, I will be wearing these. If it's not wet, I've got a couple pairs of my traditional Nike shoes that I like. I have a pair of slippers for just in my room, which I love to wear those. I also have my reusable, refillable water bottle. I don't necessarily need a whole bunch of options, you know, for drinking. I'm not getting a drinking package. I'm not much of a drinker. So we're gonna do that. And then, here's a couple other my favorite things. I will be using the pool on day one. There's a couple large slides on the pool. I will be on those on day one when it's still warm. And this is just a plastic lined zip up bag so that if I am using the pool on like the day before I leave, then I can put it in here, or even just going to and from the spa back to my room, I could put it in here so I'm not dripping along the way and getting everything else wet. Another packing cube. And then I also have this small duffel bag. I'm gonna use this tomorrow. So I will pack anything that I need on the ship on day one, because when you check into the cruise, they will take your luggage. You might not see it for about 3-4 hours. So any medications, a water bottle, a snack, even though there's gonna be lots of food on the ship, anything I might need until my luggage arrives. So we're gonna take that on the train that we're gonna be taking up from Portland to Seattle. And then this will also use on the final day when I'm checking out. They will come get your luggage at about 9-10 o'clock at night. My last stop is in Victoria, British Columbia. And so we are gonna be stopping at like 8 until like midnight. So it's a late night stop in Canada that we'll be getting off the ship. So our luggage won't be there when we get back. So it's gonna have to be a strategic pack. And then we'll get off the ship at about 9-10 o'clock in the morning, and my flight's not till 2. So I'm gonna have this small duffel bag to have my night things, and then till I find my luggage at the end of the day. But I think I'm gonna do a port valet, which is Seattle's one of those places that actually does a port valet, and it takes your suitcase and checks it into the airline for you. So you actually don't see your suitcase again until you get to your home airport. So looking forward to that. I'm very, very excited about this cruise. 2 other little things that everyone says always get the magnetic hooks to put on, because all the interior cabins are made of steel. So those are great if you want to hang things, hang your jackets, for them to dry, swimsuits, things like that. The other 2 things I got is just a little air freshener, a small space air freshener. I like my rooms to smell nice. And then I also got the acupressure bands. I usually have a bunch of these. I think I loaned them out, so I had to go buy another pair. I prefer these over any motion sickness. Typically, I don't get motion sickness, but a couple of my kids did when they were young, so I always have these on handy. And going from Seattle up until you get to the interior of the Alaska area, so that it's pretty rough. They said the first 24 hours up until you get up to Sitka is a little rough, and I've heard that repeatedly. So I will be sleeping with these and probably wearing them the full day. And lastly, one of the things that I booked on this cruise that I'm so very excited about, again, I am not into cold weather. So my plan was to go ahead and get the thermal spa. So on the Norwegian Cruise Line, they do have a thermal spa, which has the sauna, the steam room, they have a salt room, they have an ice room, they have specialty showers, they've got the thermal bath. One is the saltwater one, which is really good in your body for any aches and pains. They have a hydro bath, so that you get the water that hits the back of your neck, and there's another bath, I'm not sure. But then they have the heated stone chairs, the loungers, so that those are kind of like the curved chair, and they're just nice and warm, and they sit in front of the big window. So on the day that we're cruising up the Endicott Arm to go to the glacier, I plan to be sitting in those chairs and staying nice and warm and getting lots of footage out the window of the beauty of Alaska. I don't necessarily need to be outside for any reason. So wish me well, and hopefully I'll have a lot of content for you. And if you have any questions about cruising, whether it be to Hawaii, whether it be to Alaska, and we have an intended trip to Rome and Greece later this year. So this is a little new venture for me. I'm excited to help you plan for your cruises, and we'll look forward to seeing you later in this cruise when I have some additional information. I will be letting you know at the end of the cruise all of which of this I actually used. So bon voyage. We'll see you next time, and aloha. Hopefully all that recorded, because if it didn't, 10 minutes, wow.